Hello, my name is Alex Sonnenthal, Director of Technology for EventsAIR, and it is my pleasure to present to you our EventsAIR version 7.1 release video. While this is a minor update, it still has some exciting functionality that I'd like to share with you today. So let's jump right in and take a look. First, I'd like to show you live Q&A. This exciting functionality lets your attendees submit questions to the presenter in real time, and your presenter has a new app to help organize, moderate, and respond to questions from the audience. So let's take a look. So here in EventsAIR, it's show you very quickly how to set it up. It's very easy. The first thing you need to do is for any session that you want to enable live Q&A, you just go select it and scroll to the bottom and where you can say enable live Q&A in the attendee app. And that's pretty much all you have to do at the session level. The next thing you need to do is go to the online app, to the attendee app right here, and you just got to drag across that component, which you can see I've already dragged it across live Q&A, and there's a couple settings I want to show you. First, of course, is you have the ability to enable session pin. Just like the live audience polling, you can require for any particular session to enter a pin, display a pin, and enter a pin number before they can access the live Q&A server. Now, in this case, you have to enable it both at the app, the live Q&A app, and in the attendee app at both sides to make it happen. Then you have the ability to enable thumbs down. That's called down voting. We have upvoting and thumbs up already built into live Q&A, and this is just an option if you want to provide that option to have down voting or thumbs down voting. Voting itself is a fabulous feature in live Q&A, and we'll take a look at that. And the rest of it is just your standard icon settings for the attendee app. Then we get to the live Q&A app itself. There's only a few settings. It's very straightforward. So I'm just going to go ahead and set an alias there. And I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the app settings. So when you go in, really the only settings you have deal with using the session pin, which we've talked about. If you do turn that on, you can adjust the colors and the icons that are displayed on that session pin page. Then you have the users itself. You have to set a user, for your live Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, okay? And then we're going to go take a look at it right now. So I've brought up on the screen an example attendee app on the left and the live Q&A app on the right. And you can see I already have some questions pre-populated in there just because we came into the session halfway. We can assume that. And you can see that there's questions here that the attendee can view in their app, and the same questions are viewed in the live Q&A app as well. And there's a lot of functionality around here. There's different tabs saying like the current questions, most recent questions, starred, and answered questions. We'll take a look at all that, okay? And we have the ability of choosing different sessions here, deleting all questions, exporting data, and we'll talk about moderation in a moment, okay? But here, for any of these questions, you have some controls. So, for example, here, the little microphone means next question. So let's say, how much does this feature cost? We want either the presenter himself or the moderator in the back of the room can check that, and I'll turn it blue, push it to the top as an indicator to the presenter. It should be the next question. There's also the way of starring questions with a yellow star, and that marks them as favorites or starred questions, and they'll be accumulated here in the starred question tab, okay? So you have the ability of starring questions. I'll just turn a few of those off. Okay, for right now. You also have the finish. So once you finish answering a question, you or the moderator can click on the checkered flag and it'll push it over to the answered questions tab, okay? And then we can choose, this is something we're considering, when is it available? I can make that the next question. And then either the moderator or yourself during the Q&A can actually click on the pencil and you can say this feature is available in version 7.1, available to be released in November. Okay, so you can answer that, save the answer, and it immediately takes it off the queue and put it in the answered questions, and it'll be displayed with the answer as part of the question. So there's this really great interactivity between the presenter and the attendees, and the moderator can also be moderating questions. So if you click on Enable Moderation, they can be turned on and turned off, and when they're turned off here, they are removed from view in the attendee app as well. Let me turn that off because we have one more thing. We do also have a pause button that you can pause everything if you need to, take a side journey real fast. And then you have display full screen. And this presents a really well-designed, attractive view of the same functionality. So the attendees can see all this, and this can be displayed, of course, live, and it could be done, in conjunction with the presenter answering questions, or it could be managed by the moderator in the back. You have the moderator managing this view. You can have the presenter still working in this view. You have a lot of different functionality surrounding this. And then you have a few additional features. Now, obviously, you have most recent, top 4 questions, starred, if there's any starred questions. Let me star a question here. Okay, and any starred questions, they'll show up there. Any answered questions that we've already talked about are there. And you also have a live feed. So if you come here, I'm going to say, this is great, and hit post. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one saying, this is awesome. Okay, and hit post. As new questions come in, you'll see them flowing along the live feed at the bottom of this view. And again, it's another really attractive way. You can see voting going on in real time. As you're voting, you can see voting going on. If you have down votes, you can see those going on as well. So you have the ability of tracking all this. You can see all the different voting going on. If you downvote, it'll turn off the upvote. So you have all this type of functionality here that you can. And the voting is a great tool for, team voting up or down. It's also a way for, ranking suggestions or ranking, comments for future handling as well. So it's a lot of nice, powerful functionality in the live Q&A feature. You can export the data. You can delete all the questions, as I said. So it's a great interactive tool. Work with a moderator in the back of the room, or the presenter can just run it solo. We have a great white paper on this as well that goes through all the different scenarios. But live Q&A, it is something that's generating already a lot of excitement within our user community. Next, I'm going to show you the new feature where you can filter on alerts and messages on whom you're going to send them to who are attendee app users. So if you're in communications, okay, and you go to the alert functionality, you could always send alerts out to the attendee app, but it was always to everybody, all attendee app users. But what if you just want to notify through the attendee app an alert or a news update for your exhibitors or for your speakers or for any particular category or even for an individual person? So now this is a new functionality here called specific filter on the send to option, and this is where you have, of course, the option of filtering on anything in the EventsAIR files to go ahead and filter and send. So it's a straightforward process. It just adds some additional functionality around whom you can send to the attendee app news items or alerts. Okay, straightforward, very nice new functionality. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the attendee app, okay, because what we have here is this new functionality that I think you guys will really enjoy, and that is the ability to mark favorite presentations. So we've always had the ability in the attendee app, to go ahead and if you're going to go into a particular presentation, a particular session, a Journey to the Wild, you can add it to my agenda, okay, which I'm going to do, okay, and yeah, it would be marked, of course, in your My Agenda, and you can see right here, it is right there, Journey to the Wild, right there, right? And you can go look at it, and you can see both speakers, and you can make session notes on it, all that stuff. Okay, but what if you're not really interested in the entire presentation? What if you're just interested in James Becker's presentation, 10:30 to 11:15? Common scenario. So now you will see that there is a star available against James Becker, and you can click on that. And now what happens here is you've marked a favorite presentation. So if I go into my agenda, right here. You can see not only do you have a journey to wild, but you can see now here I have one person's journey. Okay, and I mean that's a Mr. Becker's presentation, and I can just record notes and view details and record just Mr. Becker's 10:30 to 11:15 presentation. So you have that ability. It's great, and it's a fantastic way, of course, to mark a favorite presentation as part of the agenda and my agenda process. Okay, another function in the Attendee app is called Event Notes, and it's exactly as what you would think it is. You click on Event Notes. Here's a few I've already entered, and you have the ability to, and it's just exactly what you think it is. And here's some that I've already entered, and you can see that you can create session, event notes, as well as session and presentation notes, and you can export these as well. So that's a straightforward new functionality. It's really quite nice. The last thing I want to share with you today, because this is not a huge release, but there's some really nice ones, is if you go into the attendee area, okay, we now have in the change log, we've listened to our users, we've had some feedback about this, and we've reinstated the ability to track and record all new additions to the record, as well as tracking changes to the existing record. We've also enhanced performance throughout the changelog. So, it's going to operate just the same as it always had, but it's going to be a little bit more streamlined and faster, and it's going to be recording not only changes to existing, but if you add new things to this client, it'll record the date and the time around those as well. So folks, that is the version 7.1 update. I hope this is as exciting to you as it is to us. I want to thank you very much for listening to this video, and thank you for being part of the EventsAIR community.